When I heard the theme for today was Sign of the Times, my mind immediately went to the Harry Styles song of the same name. This would be a surprise to absolutely nobody who knows me, because I am very much known for being a One Direction tragic. When I wrote this speech a couple of months ago, this introduction was a bit of a funny anecdote about my crazy teen years and the joy and friendship that One Direction had brought me. Unfortunately, in the past 72 hours, the meaning of this introduction has shifted and is now, sorry, having a bit of struggle there, and is now much sadder. And I thought about taking out this part of the speech, but ultimately, I've decided to keep it in because my reflections on being a teen fan, being a crazy directioner as a teenager and through into my 20s and now into my 30s really sum up what I'm here to talk to you about today, because I am here to talk to you about the power and passion of fandom and what it means to be a fan and what it means to be a fan in our teen years and through into our adulthood and beyond. I am here to talk to you about this because I have a PhD in fandom and fan studies. My name is Dr. Georgia Carroll, and I completed my PhD at the University of Sydney, where I studied Taylor Swift fans and fans of the television show Supernatural, and how their fans consume and connect both their favourite things and with their fellow fans. And I've just realised, sorry, that I don't have the clicker to go to my next slide. Thank you. How they connect with each other. So I'm going to build on my research and my experiences as a fan myself to walk you through the three main ways I see fandom and fan passion as a sign of our times, and that is fandom as identity, fandom as passion, and fandom as community. So the first of my three categories today is identity. Now, it's not an exaggeration to say that we are all a fan of something. Maybe, like me, you're obsessed with boy bands and you wake up in the middle of the night to watch Formula One. Or maybe you really love an AFL or an NRL team. Or you have a TV show you watch over and over and over again. Or a book series you can't stop reading and recommending. Being a fan is something that we are. It becomes a part of our identity. We say, I am a fan. I am a Swiftie. When it comes to sports, we even group ourselves in with the team we support. We say, we won. We're doing well this season. We lost, but we still have hope. Part of this identity is things like wearing merchandise to signal to others that you belong to the group. It's in the friendship bracelet making trend that started off amongst the Swifties but has now spread to professional sports teams around the world. It's in physically attending events and in definitively describing yourself as a fan of something. However, it's also a self-reflective experience. When we're young, it can be hard to figure out who we are. When I was in high school, I definitely had no idea who I was or what I wanted to be. But being a fan can help us shape a sense of self and find a sense of belonging that we are otherwise lacking in our lives. Yes, you may be a fan of Taylor Swift, but it is ultimately more than that. You're identifying with a set of shared beliefs and values that not only make up who you are, but who the group is as a whole. This was something I explored throughout my PhD research, where I asked Taylor Swift fans to tell me words that they associated with being a Swiftie. They told me words like passion, support, caring, and creativity. These were fans of different ages, genders, backgrounds, and geographies, and yet they all identified with these shared values that both helped them identify themselves and what it meant to be a fan of Taylor Swift above and beyond just listening to her music. Additionally, we can also consider the role of autobiography and emotion in storytelling as a way to shape fan identity. This is especially true in music, where if we look at artists like Taylor Swift or Chappell Roan or Noah Kahan, yes, They are amazing musicians and artists, but it's ultimately more than that. They are amazing storytellers who share their own experiences and help us to feel less alone and like we are not the only people who are going through something. This again is something that came up throughout my PhD research, where Taylor Swift fans told me that listening to her music was much like reading their own diary. Taylor is known for her autobiographical music, especially in her earlier albums, which many fans describe as being the soundtrack to their teen years. One of the participants in my research described listening to Taylor's song Tim McGraw for the first time and realising it almost exactly echoed the recent experience she had where her older boyfriend had moved away to university. This was just one of the stories I heard from Swifties around the world who told me that listening to Taylor Swift at key moments in their youth and young adulthood helped them figure out who they were, and that it realised it was okay to be going through what they were going through because they weren't alone in those feelings. Being young can be complicated and lonely and isolating, and there is nothing more cathartic than listening to a song or watching a television show or reading a book and realising that you can see yourself in it. If Taylor Swift can feel happy, free, confused and lonely at the same time, it suddenly makes it okay for us to be feeling like that as well. Now, the second of my categories today is passion. Being a fan is all about loving something, and my research explored the ways that fans engage with the passion they have for their favourite things in the same way they would as any other hobby. I looked at celebrity fandom in the same way that you view a recreational sports league or a book club or even a knitting group. Rather than the kind of weird fringe behaviour fandom was painted as in the 20th century, I argue that participating in fandom communities is something that is ultimately one of the most fundamental human experiences we can take part in. Being passionate about things helps to give life meaning and make things fun. If you turn on the news, you're going to be seeing horrible stories of heartbreak and loss and uncertainty. But loving something allows you to find escapism and positivity against that backdrop and realise that not everything in the world is awful. I'm not sure how many people in this room managed to get tickets to the Eras tour. I was lucky enough to get tickets to a couple of nights, and being in that crowd was one of the most joyful and passionate experiences I've ever had in my life. We were ultimately crowds of tens of thousands of strangers, and yet there was a sense of cohesion and passion and joy through the fact we were united in our love for Taylor, and every single person in that space understood that passion and that joy without judgment. Because, however, there is a dark cloud that hangs over the concept of fan passion, and that is the stereotypical judgment of fandom as extreme, emotional and hysterical, especially when teenage girls are involved. As a fan culture expert, I spend a lot of my time talking about fandom, and regardless of who I'm talking to, I always get asked, but isn't this just something for crazy teenage girls? To which I say, aren't you tired of that complete lie of a cliche? But unfortunately, this is the cliche that will not die. People see young women excited about something they love, and instead of enjoying the fact that they have found something to feel passionate about and get excited for, they cast judgment. And yet, when coming from adult men, that judgment should often be reflected back upon themselves. I've mentioned sport a few times because sport is just as much a part of fandom and fan passion as other forms of entertainment. And yet somehow it always manages to get placed in its own superior category. And even though all of the behaviours and modes of participation and involvement we see in sports fandom are identical, and sometimes even more extreme than that we see in the fandoms for things like pop music and TV shows. In 2011, The Vancouver Canucks ice hockey team lost in the NHL finals. Their fans took to the streets and literally rioted. They weren't teenage girls. In the world of European football, the word ultra is used to describe extremely passionate fans of certain teams who often turn violent. And again, they're not teenage girls. The word tifosi is used to describe the passionate fans of the Ferrari Formula One team who are so intense in their love, outsiders liken it to a religion. And yes, while there are many female fans of Ferrari, myself included, the historical majority who give the team their reputation are once again adult men. So why is there this myth that it is only teenage girls who seemingly take their emotional connection to things too far, who feel the need to cry and scream? The patriarchy has a lot to answer for, and it all boils down to this. Teenage girls are seen as loving things for the wrong reasons. When men love a musician or a sporting team, it's apparently because they see the true talent and value on show. When it's a teenage girl, she sees the superficiality. If she loves a boy band, it's because she thinks they're hot. If she loves a musician like Taylor Swift, it's because she doesn't understand real music and is only connecting to songs about high school heartbreak. Even if she loves a sport, it's not because she really understands it, it's because she thinks the athletes are attractive. Here's a secret. I definitely loved One Direction because I thought they were attractive. I also think many Formula One drivers are attractive. I mean, have you seen Lewis Hamilton? I am the type of fangirl that many men love to hate. But why should my casual attraction to a celebrity diminish the value of my fandom and the worth of my interests? We all need to feel passionate about things in life. Fandom allows us to experience joy and connection and belonging. It doesn't matter why we like something, and we should be celebrating passion instead of judging it. Whether you're a teenage girl at a Harry Styles concert or a 90-year-old man at his first ever grand final, the love we're experiencing and seeing in action is exactly the same, and it's something that unites us in being human. And that idea of being united through love brings us to my final category, which is community. My research heavily focused on this idea of community within fan spaces, with individuals discussing the importance of fan networks and friendships in their lives. Participants told me stories of travelling to meet friends, of finally feeling seen and understood, of friendships that were sparked by Taylor Swift, but then turned into best friendships that expanded above and beyond both liking a singer. Our world has been through a lot over the past 5 years. I was lucky in many ways in that I was in my mid-20s when the pandemic hit. Many of you in this room would have been kids and teens, and I have no idea how you dealt with the challenges that comes with that on a good day while also being stuck inside your house. And while my research was conducted prior to the beginning of the pandemic, what we have seen throughout this time period is that fans all over the world have flocked online to find a sense of community and belonging with fellow fans who understand you and what you are going through. Community can be seen as the overarching result that you get when you combine identity and passion. Being a fan shapes who you are and makes you want to share that experience and connect with others. We can understand fandoms as something known as an imagined community. This was a term created by an academic named Benedict Anderson to describe nationalism and how we feel a sense of shared identity through geography, ideology, and symbols, despite the fact we are never going to meet most others who call themselves, for example, Australian. This is exactly what we see in fandoms and fan communities, where we unite under a shared name, such as Swifties, and feel a sense of connection and belonging, even though we are never going to be able to meet each other, and the fact that our fandom is not a physical space. Fan communities allow us to find a sense of hope and friendship and belonging. Regardless of what we are individually a fan of, we can find like-minded others who understand and see us for who we are. This is more true than ever with modern social media, when we are only ever a few moments and clicks away from thousands of others who get what we're trying to say. Whether it's a live-streamed blurry TikTok of the Eras tour, or a crying reaction to listening to Taylor's newest album, whether it's live tweeting your favourite sporting match, or finding others who want to share in your crazy TV show or movie theories on Reddit, or a million other possibilities, your community is out there. And even when we are alone in our school or our workplace or our friendship group with our interests, we can find others who get what we are experiencing and find passion and share that joy. My original conclusion to this speech was all about Taylor Swift and how her fandom helped to shape who she is today as one of the most powerful people in the world. But given everything that has occurred over the past 72 hours in the One Direction fandom, I felt it would be more fitting to reflect on what that situation has shown us about all of the things I have discussed today. This was a horrible situation that no fan and no person ever wants to find themselves experiencing. But what we have seen is millions of fans from around the world emerge from the hiatus that has been the band's reality over the past 9 years to support each other, to find a sense of self and understanding, and to be there for each other in grief. Being a fan is a part of all of us, and as much as it can bring joy and friendship and self-expression and community, it also brings a sense of understanding and caring and community and comfort. Even when we are not in the same place, and maybe there was nobody in your real life who understood, like me, why you were sobbing on your couch at 9 a.m. on Thursday, I could go online and find millions of others who are reacting in the exact same way. And that is what is so powerful about fandom, because it makes what you are feeling valid. It makes you feel okay in who you are and the emotions you are experiencing and the reality you are creating for yourself. Regardless of what you're a fan of, being a fan and fan passion are some of the best parts of being alive. If you've ever screamed with tens of thousands of others at a concert, or celebrated as your favourite team won an important game, or stayed up all night to binge watch the latest season of your favourite show, you would know all about the power that can come with being a fan. We all need this kind of joy and belonging in our lives, and proudly being a fan is a great first step in making sure that that can happen.